Hey, and welcome, you guys. Pardon my voice, it just went out for a little bit. Your girl is back. Apologies for being so late with this one. But before we get started in this video, please do all the things at the bottom of the screen. Like the video, comment in the comment section, share this video where you share your videos because sharing is caring, and turn on your notification, please. That said, your girl's a little late, so I'm just going to be off camera to get this whole thing done. This show is just too good. So even when I'm running behind, I just got to put the recap up for you guys to partake, and we will get caught up eventually. I'm not going to hold you up any further. We're going to get right into the episode. We are here for Reasonable Doubt, Season 2, Episode 5, Guilty Until Proven Innocent. Now we open up, we got our good girl Jax, and she's being hell of suspicious as to whether Shanelle did this or not. She's taking a look at Daniel's surveillance footage of Adrian while Lewis is texting Tony in the bathroom that they need to talk. I bet you do. So Jax decides to pay Shanelle a visit, and she shows him a picture of Evan. We remember Evan, trouble. She says, yeah, she knows him. He's JT's business partner. And Jax tells her that he was spotted with Adrian when he picked him up when he left the jail. Remember when these two was, when they're Jay-Z and Beyonce on the run? Okay, then. Apparently, he's also Adrian's business partner. Now, Shanelle doesn't know much about him, but she says he gives off those shady vibes. Girl, we agree, like the rest of JT's associates. But she seems to think that Adrian is completely different. If you know, you know. And he saved her. I said, baby, ain't that much saving in the whole wide world. But go off, sis. Her last few months with JT were horrible, but Adrian made them better. His only regret is that he couldn't protect her more. But he did, Jack says, when he took out JT. Baby, Shanelle's face. And sidebar, I guess I was wrong because I thought that Shanelle did it without any help. Even though we're gonna get into it a little bit later because it don't really make sense. But I say that because last season, they took us through all of the possibilities for a homeboy to be the one that really did it. So I was kind of trying to stick to that, but I have to admit when I'm wrong. So Jax tells her, she doesn't think that she took JT out and she's protecting whoever did. She thinks that she's hiding something. And that's why Lucy went for first degree unaliving. The maximum sentence is life in prison. So you need to be real with me, Jax is kind of telling her. Did you take out JT? And maybe you remember last episode when Ma'am had said she was JT's student. Well, here we go. So buckle your seatbelts. You must really hate women. Do you question all your male clients as much as you do your female clients? Oh, that's right. You haven't had a lot of female clients. So she brings up Kalisha to really sell her point. But Jax, she just sits there. She plays it cool as a cucumber as she listens. And then she hits her with if I told you years ago, you probably would have just given me the good old, he's a good man, Savannah. Not y'all quoting movies. Jax says, yes, I'm going to question my client if I think that they're lying to me, man or woman. The more I know, the better, so I can defend you. Makes sense, right? And for the record, deflection is not a flex. I said, come on, Jax, get her all the way together. So she tells her this issue isn't personal, but Shanelle persisted. She's the one that took JT out. End of story. Lewis decides to give his brother a call, who we met last season, and tells him that Tony is pregnant. Jax found out through the case because she was also effing JT first. What if the baby is mine? His brother asked the question we all want to know. Did you not wear a condom? He says, well, mostly, but there was that one time. Lewis. Oh, no. So his brother tells him he needs to find out if the baby is his. And when he brings up texting Tony, Terrence, who's the brother, tells him to change her number in his phone to something, like Alex Dunn, and to stop contacting her. Now, baby, with the lawyer wife, I can assure you that Alex Dunn is not going to work. Just all around bad advice, if you ask me. And telling Jax that you didn't know or she didn't know who you slept with was a mistake. And continuing to keep all this from her is just going to make matters worse, which we saw all up and throughout this episode. So Jax is talking to Corey and Crystal and Daniel, they all got to get together for a little powwow, put their heads together. And she's telling them how she thinks that Adrian did it to save Shanelle, and she's protecting him. She thinks that Evan is at the center of all of this, and I am inclined to believe her. Corey now, he doesn't want to hear any of it. He just wants to believe that Shanelle is telling the truth. Crystal believes her, though, and she says, always bet on Jax. Another movie reference. If you know, you know. And I know Corey wants to win this case for Prison Bay, but there's nothing wrong with exploring other options of the situation, in my opinion. So Adrian decides to pay Evan a visit without any more money, and Evan is not thrilled about it. He says it's hard to get to Shanelle, but the trial starts in a few weeks and she's got a good lawyer, so it'll all be over soon. Does Shanelle know I'm keeping your secret? She does not. And we, the people, need to know exactly what that secret is. Adrian says, we're in a relationship of mutually assured destruction, so be cool, fool, okay? And Evan's like, listen, let's make a deal. You need something, you come to me, and vice versa. So Shanelle's interview that she did with Miss Tanya is going viral, but will it be good for Shanelle's defense? Jax has gotten some calls from a few local reporters, but Corey reminds her he is the face of the case, so he will be the one to return the phone calls. He wants her to put her friendship with Shanelle to the side, while she wants him to consider other possibilities. Fewer emotions, more reasoning, is what he tells her. Baby, will that come back to bite him in the backside? So Jax is watching the interview that night with Lewis on TV, and she's like, I can't believe they blindsided us with Tony. So Lewis is kind of asking her, like, oh, have you spoke to Tony? She's like, no, I haven't, but I'm sure she's going to, and Jax is saying she hasn't, and she needs zoo. Jax is saying she hasn't, and she's not sure of how she's going to handle it when she runs into her, or what she'll tell Naima when she wants to see Hattie, which is Tony's daughter. She says she better figure it out before she takes the stand. So Lewis is sitting there, and he's just looking stuck when Jax goes to get herself another drink. She's like, listen, I need Shanelle to tell the truth. The cover-up is always worse than the crime. Jax was laying those thoughts out there and leaving Lewis riddled with guilt whole episode. Speaking of which, baby, at that moment, it is at that moment when Jax talks about the cover-up being worse than the crime that Alex Dunn, that's right, he changed the name in his phone, calls Lewis. Now, he don't put the thing on silent. He don't send it to voicemail or nothing. He just sitting there sweating bullets, letting the thing just ring and ring and ring. So Jax is like, somebody's blowing you up. He's like, oh, yeah, it's one of my co-workers. So she's like, you might as well go ahead and answer it. And when he does, baby, Lewis is not discreet. He is not a good liar, which is why he should just always tell the truth. So he's like, yeah, hi, okay, hello, hi, yeah. Mad weird. And Tony's like, she got a whole attitude, baby. And he just kind of rushes her off the phone. He had better be lucky that she is so preoccupied with this case, because baby, it ain't no way. Us women, we be knowing, okay? We be knowing. So he just better thank his lucky stars. So the next day, Jax is at work, and they're going over where people stand after the interview. The Black women are empathizing, and the men, however, are loyal to JT. So I don't think much has changed, because I would assume that's how it was before. Tomorrow is the big day, and Jax kind of offers Corey, like, oh, I could take a look at your opening statement. He's like, nah, I'm good. I said, baby, Jax just cannot help herself. So Lucy's having a cup of coffee when she gets a visit. The big boss, I'm assuming, I cannot remember sir's name, thought that the charge was, it was a little out there. It was a reach, if you will, but with the Adrian of it all, maybe not. And it's just a reminder that they need to win this case. So it's trial day, and the folks outside with their signs. Some are in favor of Shanelle, and some are not. So Lucy gives her opening statement with the belief that Shanelle planned the whole thing. Don't let the things you'll hear about JT sway you. He is not on trial. Shanelle is for his unaliving. Corey steps up, dear, looking good as he likes to do, and he gives his opening statement, beginning with, the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman, the most unprotected, the most neglected. Words by Brother Malcolm X. And he plans to show how she suffered years of emotional, financial, and physical abuse. And the months leading up to his death, he, JT, was suffering financial troubles and becoming more erratic. And Shanelle felt her life was in danger. Her plan was to leave, but JT made that plan impossible. When he put his hands around her throat, she had no choice but to defend herself. I said, okay, come on. We coming through strong with the opening statement. I love to see it, love to see it. And then when it's time for the witnesses, we go from the detective to the medical examiner. The detective kind of sets the scene and states that the body was moved, while the medical examiner says he was hit in the back of the head. Lucy asked what that means, and they said it usually means that someone's walking away. And this is what I meant by when I said I thought she did it, but I was torn because if she was being choked, like how would she hit him in the back of the head, like without hitting herself in the face or anything like that? But like I said, season 1 got me kind of like, nah, just stick to the the course, because we keep going and suspecting other people, and it's just going to be Shanelle, like she said. So now Corey approaches and he asks if the skin under her nails was consistent with the choking. Well, yes, it is possible. When Jax is on her cross, she asks the detective, because he's talking about wet footprints from somebody taking a shower, freshly washed clothes, the movement of the body, waiting 2.5 hours to call 911. Baby, it was sounding all bad to me. But Jax asked, could that be consistent with the victim acting out of fear? Possibly, he answers. I said, Jax, good cleanup, because it was not looking too good for your girl. Back at home, Lewis tells Spencer about a school he found. It's not far from them. They have a huge arts program and a solid sports program as well. So he apologizes, for dismissing his interest. He would never shoot down his dreams. But Spencer's like, it's all good. And he seems excited about the school. He's like, send me the details. I'm going to go take a look at it in my room. Meanwhile, Jax is at the courtroom. She's outside talking, or, outside the courtroom talking to reporters about JT's mom taking a stand. When Corey walks up, so the reporters walk off, and he's like, I'm supposed to be the face of the trial. And Jax was like, you weren't here. And I thought that talking to them could help our case. Fewer emotions, more reasons, she repeats. And I had to laugh. Like I said, that line was going to come back to bite Corey in his backside. So Jax stops in to see Naima before bedtime, it looks like. And she tells her, because she has the eye mask on. And Naima, that is, and she's telling her that she got it from Mama Lou's new boyfriend, Kevin Douglas. Naima's like, I don't really like him too much. And Jax asks why, because, I'm sure it was raising red flags for her. But Naima's like, she just wants Grandpa Paul back. And I was like, I kind of hate that she didn't really know what he was about. But, Jax is going to do her research when it comes to Mr. Kevin. Later on, Jax does call her mama and ask her why she wasn't the one to tell her about Kevin. And where did you meet this man? She says, she took some of Paul's things down to the shelter by the house, and he's retired and volunteers there every week. Mom says she's happy, and she just wants Jax to be happy for her too. And I feel where Jax is coming from, because Mama does not really make good decisions, particularly when it comes to the men. So a few of the fellas at the firm, they're headed for drinks, and they invite Corey. And at first he's like, no. But on second thought, he invites them for cigars. So it's an exclusive spot that's opened by his fraternity brother. So as they get to, talking and carrying on, They say, he's a breath of fresh air, being at the firm. Chanel's case is the biggest in his career, and the firm is like, ours too, behind Braden Miller. So Corey's like, it looks like Jax is on a roll. And the fellas are like, yeah, she's killing it. But, we wish she was a little more amenable. And Corey, he doesn't disagree. And I hate this because it seems like they want to move Jax out and move him in. And as for Corey, we gonna get to that when we talk about him and Jax. We'll revisit the conversation. But it kind of bothered me a little bit because Crystal was saying that when Jax came back at the top of the season, that it's really turning into an old boys club. So I just hate them trying to move our girl Jax out the way. Now, the following day, the partners, they call Jax in and they thank her for bringing Corey in and ask her, that she be hospitable. Let him take the lead, support him, and make him shine. Should I buy some knee pads? No, maybe just tickle the balls a little. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Baby, working at a job that's male dominant. I too often get comments that it's like, child, moving along. Daniel hasn't found anything on Evan, so Jax says she's going to have Crystal schedule a meeting with this office. Lewis and Jax, they have a therapy session and they're holding hands. Things seem to be going well, and the therapist also seems to notice. So Jax says she's happy that Lewis has kind of been asking her about work and asking her about the trial, but there is one thing that she kind of didn't appreciate how she handled, and that's the Spencer school situation. He did research and took it to Spencer before speaking to her about it. I too had a problem with that when I saw him doing that. He says he wanted to make it up to him, but Jax is like, yeah, but you got a pattern and you like to be the good guy with the kids. And she just wanted to be included. She doesn't want to be the bad guy if she has to say no. She wants to be the good guy too sometimes. So he says, okay. And it's excellent conflict resolution. The therapist tells him that. I was noticing, the dialogue back and forth. And I got where she's come from with this, because having been the bad guy a time or two myself, it's also like, speak to the other parent first. It's just honestly a matter of respect. And I don't have a problem with her bringing it up in therapy, which she felt like was a safe space where they could talk freely. So I could relate. And also I like the way they handled it. So the doctor brings up trust. Lewis is the one that was, having a trouble with that. And he's like, he's trusting her more. And Jack says that she's always trusted Lewis. He's always been honest with her. And now this would have been a good segue and place to bring up Tony, but instead we have a missed opportunity. Speaking of Tony, later Lewis meets with her in a random parking lot, and she's really not here for the small talk. She knows exactly why he's there, and she's like, the baby isn't yours. JT is gone, and you're back with Jax, and I'm the only one who wants the baby, so like, why even get a test? So it looks like, she plans to keep the secret, but no. We don't just, we get a test, Lewis. We don't just, hold on 1 second. 1 second, you guys. As I was saying, let's rewind a little bit. So it looks like she plans to keep the secret, but I was like, no, we don't just not get a test, Lewis. And also, the way that she was carrying on in season 1, I'm like, do you mean to tell me that Lewis and JT are the only men that she's been with? I mean, it's no shame. It's her body. She could do what she wants to do, but inquiring minds just want to know. So Sally and Jackson Autumn, they're having dinner, and the people do not have favorable words for Shanelle. On social media, you chose that man, baby. They're going to hit you like a broken record if they don't do nothing else with it. You chose that man when it comes to, the father of your kids and so on and so forth. So Jax is saying, it's better than a few months ago. However, Shanelle is currently mad at her because she accused her of lying. And Autumn thinks so too. With the money and Adrian, it's not like she hasn't been, dishonest before. She's like, I can't blame her, but it does feel like she planned it. Baby Sally is not happy. She's like, I came out to be with my girls and to figure out how to support Shanelle. And she's hot. She's like, I'd rather go home with my husband who hates me than listen to this ish. And ma'am, does just that. And for this reason, a lot of people, I'm not sure if I have it later on in my notes, but for this reason, a lot of people were raising Sally up on that suspect list. Back in court, Mama JT is on the stand talking about he was a good boy trying to better those around him. That girl took my baby away. She hitting him with the crocodile tears. She says Shanelle was harassing her before JT passed, texting her, accusing her of knowing about his affairs and paying the women off. So Lucy has some text from Shanelle saying that you and your son are monsters, and I promise you will pay for the issue you did to me. Now, she also claims that JC never laid a hand, child. He basically never laid a hand on her, which pisses Shanelle off. She's lying. What about my black eye? And Mama JT is just smirking. Like, Corey had to request a recess because Shanelle was about to go clean on off. So during that recess, Shanelle's like, she gave me Gucci glasses to cover up my black eye. And she's like, and she brought the kids with her when I asked her not to. So Corey's like, listen, you can't behave that way in front of the jury. So Jackson's like, listen, don't worry. We'll have her removed when she finished. We'll have the kids removed when she finishes testifying. So Chanel's like, she will not abuse her children the way that she abused hers. And they're like, come again. What you say, girl? So back on the stand, Corey asked if JT followed her ways by being physically abusive. You never burned your son with a cigarette on his thigh? That was an accident. She ain't like that. Shanelle got a little smirk for her at this point. So Jax decides to go meet with Evan, and she's noticing all the security, and he says it's to make his clients feel protected. Yeah. And your line of work. So she's like, you represented JT, but what about Adrian Hunter? He's like, he was a client, but now he's, merely an associate. Sometimes people present one way when they really are another, but he has to go, baby. So he sends Jax on her way, and he goes to pay Shanelle a visit. He says he wants to help her win her case because her being there doesn't help him get what he needs, which is that 30 mil. She said she had no idea. Adrian is not the man you think he is. Would you like to know more about the man you fell in love with? Baby, yes, and we wanted to know too, okay? So Daniel tells Jax that Will Goose LLC is linked to a sports gambling site overseas. They recruit retired players to act as agents and recruit bettors. One of those being JT, but what about Adrian? Now, Daniel isn't quite sure yet, but he has deposited millions into Will Goose just last week. Either he's in over his head or he is in charge. So Jax asks him to track down Adrian. Daniel tells her, also he looked into Mama Lou's new boo, and he doesn't have as much as a traffic ticket. Maybe sometimes people are who they say they are. So Adrian goes to see Evan, and he's mad that he paid Shanelle a visit, and now she's pissed. Evan thought that if he told her that it wasn't, Evan thought that Adrian told her that it wasn't JT's money. So I guess she did know about this money. Like, she kept saying she didn't know, but now we're saying she didn't know that it wasn't JT's money. So clearly she knew something. He's like, he needed to rebalance the power. So he cut out the middleman. And Adrian tells him to stay away from Shanelle. I've never seen this Adrian in person, only on the field. But you're in the house now, boy. So I suggest you watch his mouth. Him? Watch his mouth? All that Sir just said. I was surprised that Adrian kept his composure because, baby. Evan says, Jax came to see me and she's asking a lot of questions. She needs to be contained. That's what you have your goons for, Adrian is telling him. And he makes yet another slave reference, and I was just like, baby, I cannot. He's talking about one-way loyalty. And I said, reasonable doubt. Y'all could have kept this. So Jax meets with Corey at a cigar bar, scene of the crime. What did you say to the partners? You were difficult to work with, give me a hard time, and you're dismissive. He's like, he doesn't want to fight. He just wants to win the case. So Jax explains her side and asks her to trust, and he asks her to trust his methods. She's like, listen, our strength is in our differences. Plus, they can't let the folk get in between them. We room for everybody black. Then he asks her about Braden Miller's innocence or guilt, and she kind of just laughs it off. So we get home with Jackson Lewis, and they present Spencer with his acceptance letter to the art school, and he's excited. Um, Jax tells Lewis that Mama Lou's boyfriend checked out. Sometimes people are exactly who they say they are, just like you, baby. So later on that night, they're getting it popping in the bedroom, and afterwards, Lewis decides to take himself in the bathroom and text Tony that he needs to know. Thank you, Lewis. We're not just going to dust it under the rug. It's either you are or you aren't. So the next day at work, Jax gets a call from Adrian to meet him at Shanelle's house. She, is going to head to talk to him, and Daniel asks, can he come with her? She's like, no, I know Adrian. She's like, Daniel's like, but you think he took out JT? And Jack's like, yeah, but if he did, he was scared. But on second thought, I said, yes, girl. Yes, girl. After Damon, on second thought, yes, absolutely less. Absolutely, yes. So she tells him, listen, follow me and stay outside. Call every 6 minutes. And if you don't hear anything from me, call the police. Good choice, Jax. So Jax gets there and he is in the house, baby, sitting in the dark, holding on to this picture. So he's like, have a seat, Jack. She's like, no, I'm good. I'll stand. So she's like, what's up, Adrian? So he stands up and we see that he got a strap in the back of his pants. And he says, we need to talk. And that is exactly where our episode ends. I mean, they have not missed one episode, if you ask me, in this story. I'm going to end it here and remind you guys to like, subscribe, and share the video because we got to get caught up on episode 6. So hopefully I will get that out to you guys shortly. Please check out some of my other content. I appreciate you guys coming through, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.